Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to learn some of the most powerful features in Google Sheet. Everything from basic formatting to advanced formulas like VLOOKUP and macro. Instead of just showing you how they work, I will explain why each feature is important, so you will know exactly when to use in real life. Let's dive in. While working on documents, especially spreadsheets, basic setup and formatting is important because clean and well formatted data is easy to read and it prevents mistakes later when you analyze or even share with your friends. So now let's try basic formatting in practice. Let's look at this table. So before to start working with the tables, especially with big data sets, you have to remove all duplicated data. To do so, you may highlight your whole data by pressing Ctrl A or Command A on your keyboard. Go to Data, Data Cleanup, Remove Duplicates. Another step, if you need more space for specific columns or for the rows, you may go between two columns like A and B, resize it, or between second and third rows to give more space. And one more, so if you'd like to apply the styling, you may again highlight your whole table content, go to Format, Colors, and then choose the one Style to apply coloring options on your table. And the one more step, it's about phrasing the rows and columns. For example, my table has a lot of rows. If I will scroll it down, I cannot see all time the header. It's important to see the header to understand what's data given for us in that row or cell. So to do so, we have to again highlight this given header of the table, go to View, Freeze, select here one row. Now if I will scroll down, anytime I could see the first header in my table. The same you can try with the columns. For example, I would like to freeze the first and second columns. Go to the View, Freeze, two columns. Now if you will scroll to the left or to the right, every time you may see A and B. The best way to sort a table in the proper way is to insert the filters, highlight the header, filter, and then for example, let's say I would like to sort my table based on items. Let's go to Item, select here Sort in alphabetical order. Here is the result. Let's learn now cell references. In Google Sheets or in Excel, we have three types of cell references, which are relative, absolute, and mixed cell references. When you write the formulas in Google Sheets, the way cells are referenced affects how the formula behaves when you copy it to the other cells. Let's start from relative references. By default, in Google Sheet or Excel, cells are in relative reference. Relative reference means it adjusts automatically when you copy the formula to other cells. Let's see an example. We have different items in the table, their units, their unit cost, so my task is to calculate the total price. To do so, I have to put equal sign, take the address of units multiplied by unit cost. To do the same steps for the rest of the items, I have to copy down the formula. By double-clicking the output, you can see how relative references work. Now we will try to look at how absolute references work. An absolute reference does not change when you copy the formula. Let's say this is the year 2025, pencil price costs 100 tenge instead of previous prices. And then I have to take first only pencils, filter, let me take only pencils. Let's imagine that for every pencil the price should be same, 100 tenge. Units are same, only price has changed. Let me calculate once again total. Equal to, let me take the address of unit multiplied by price, enter, and let's copy down. So I got a dash symbol. Sometimes your Google Sheet may return 0. So why in the previous example it was okay, but not in the second example? So if you double click the output, you could see The formula multiplies E29, which is the unit address, multiplied by K29, which is empty cell. That's why we didn't get the proper result. When you'll copy down the formula, you will also copy down the cells. So therefore, we have to change the address K25 into absolute one by putting dollar symbols before K and before 25. It means you are phrasing the given cell by column and row. Let's copy down formula one more time. Now we got the correct answer. This is the way how absolute references work. Another function that we have to learn is about VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. When you have a large data sets, manually searching for information is impossible. VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP finds the data that you need instantly. Let's look at the small table about students. We have the ID, name, city, and birth date. The birth date column is empty, so our task is to fill out D column considering another sheet where we have students' ID and birth date. Copying and pasting the birth dates, it's not a solution since the ID in this table and on another table are different. It means the order of ID numbers has been mixed. The solution is VLOOKUP since we have to look for information vertically. So we have to put the equal sign, type the function VLOOKUP. So VLOOKUP accepts 4 arguments. The first argument is search key. The search key is the same data between your two tables, this table and this table. So as you can see, ID is the same data. So as a first argument, I'm going to give the address of first student's ID number, comma, then it says range. So where I have to look for this ID. So the range is A and B columns, comma, and then it says index. Okay, Google Sheet with the help of VLOOKUP already found the same ID that I'm looking for, and then we have to give what we need to get by this ID. So we need to get the birth date, which is B column, but you cannot indicate the column B. Instead, we have to put the indexes. Index, it means the order of the column. For example, ID is the A column, column number 1, B it's the column number 2, which means index number 2. Comma, and then we have to specify false. False, it means 1 ID, 1 birth date. Enter. So I got the result now, so let's check is that correct one or not. So the ID ends with number 10. This is here, and the result is here. So if you'll change data from the second sheet, for example, let's say it has to be not 18th, it should be 17th. The first my table already updated because these two are already interconnected with each other. So to apply the same VLOOKUP function for the rest of students, we have to just copy down. Another function that we have to learn is about concatenate. Concatenate is used to combine different data from different columns into one. In our example, we have a full name, surname, name, father's name. So my task is to combine these three together. As usual, we have to put equal sign, then take the address of surname, put the ampersand symbol, which is shift 7, name, the same symbol, and father's name. So now the last step that I have to fix it is to put space between surname and name and father's name. To give a space, I should open quote symbols, put the space between these two, and don't forget to put ampersand. It has to be between each of the objects. The same here. In order to convert the text into uppercase format, we should use the function upper, select the address, press the enter. Or vice versa, lower, take the address, enter. And the last task here is how to convert the names and father's name into short name format. Equal sign, let's take the address of surname, ampersand, and then we will learn new function now, which is left B. Left B, it means you're going to take the letters from the left beginning side. So left B takes two arguments. First one is a string. String means the address of name. So I will give the address of Timurlan, comma, and then it says number of bytes, which is how many letters do you need to return. I need only first letter from the left side. Let's press the enter. So I got the correct result. So I should give a space between these two. And the last step it is to give a dot symbol after each initials. Let's learn now logical functions, which are if, and, or. These functions help you automate decisions, analyze data faster, or even organize text without doing it manually. For example, we are going to consider the table about students and their scores. Students is going to pass the test if his or her score is greater than or equal to 75. So we will use the function if. If takes three arguments. First one is logical expression, which is score has to be greater than or equal to 75, comma, and then a value if it is true. If it is true, we're going to return pass. So since it's the string, it has to be between quote marks. Once again, quote symbol, value if it is false. Fail. Great. Another example, we have now the same students' scores for the test. However, instead of one test, we have two tests. The same, in order to pass, both of the test results should be greater than or equal to 75. Let's again try if function. So we'll start comparing the first test result and another test result. However, if can accept only one logical expression. Since we have a two, we should use inside AND function. True value it is pass, false value it is fail. Okay, one more step. This is the same as in the previous example. However, we have three test results. The same if. Since we have a 3, we can automatically put the AND. Greater than or equal to 75. Another one. And third one. Okay, let me autofill. So the question is for you. Second student, his test results, 3 of them are greater than 75. Why the student's result was fail? Why not pass? Try to think. Another function is about sum if, count if, average if. In our previous lectures, you learned how does sum work, max, mean. So today we will add one condition. If means you have a one condition. If it says sum if s, it means multiple conditions. So we have a table about products. We can see the categories, we can see the sales income, date, and so on and so forth. So my task is to calculate what was the amount of sales income for all bananas products. So we don't need to sit and take only bananas with the filters. Instead, we have a function SUMIF. SUMIF takes 3 arguments. First one is a range where we have a criteria. Since banana is a column B as a range, I will highlight this column. If your table is a big one, in order to highlight the whole column, you can press the keyboard Ctrl-Shift down, comma, and then my criteria is banana. So criteria you can specify between quote symbols like this, or you may give the address of the cell like this, comma, and then it says sum range. This is the numbers that we have to sum up, column D. Here we are. The same steps for average if, but please don't forget, count if accepts only 2 arguments. That was in your previous lectures. So the last feature that we have to learn today is about macros. If you do the same steps again and again, macros saves your time by automating repetitive action. For example, let's imagine you are a sales manager. You have to control the data every month. I have for August, for September, for October. And every month I should do the same steps like coloring the table, sorting the table data, counting some data. So to save my time, I will run the macro. Let's go to extensions, macro, record macro. The first step it is to highlight my whole table, go to Format, Coloring, and pick the one styling color. So we did it in the beginning of our lecture. Second step, let's say I would like to sort my table by car name. So filter first, let's go to car name, sort. Third, my task it is to create a drop down to count the cars by their, for example, F body type. How many hatchbacks, how many sedans. So let's insert first drop down. So I'm gonna choose here drop down by the range. As a range, let's apply F column. Okay. So let's select one body type, and then I have to count. So I have a 13 sedans, hatchback 31, and so on. So let me save my macro. So now I should repeat the same steps on September. So I'm gonna go to extensions, macros, task number 1. It says you should authorize first. Okay. So let's look how it works. As a result, you can see macro automatically styled my table. Second, it automatically sorted my table. Before it was another car brands. Here we have another car brands, and also it counted the data. And let's try for October last time. Perfect. So we've finished our script. This is the way how macro works. So try using the macro to save the time for repetitive actions.